Good morning, everyone. Fantastic to see you all again. This is the first morning that I've been out that has been very cold. It was -1 this morning. I think you can hear cock pheasants in the back, but we're not after pheasants this morning. We're actually after deer, fallow deer to be exact. So the weather was really cold last night. Not really cold, -1. So generally speaking, when it's cold, the deer are on the move a lot more. So fingers crossed you'll actually see footage of me shooting a deer this morning. So let's see how we go. Lovely morning, beautiful morning. I've one criticism about the GoPro. That's the camera that I use for recording all my endeavours. The zoom isn't really good at them. What's going on here is I'm actually looking at a group of deer, a herd of deer, a small herd of deer, what I thought was a small herd of deer, just milling around the place. One of the does had actually copped me, and she was just fixated in my general direction. She didn't really know what was happening, to be honest. I started then make my way slowly forward to a proper shooting position, a shootable position. But she kind of had me. After about 2 or 3 minutes, I just decided to try push forward slowly and trying to keep my body signatures are just as close to the hedge as possible and as close to the ground. Try not to alert him. this stage they knew something was up, and all the group just started just flying all around the place. Not literally, but just fecking going everywhere. The range was around 160 to 180 meters, so a fairly okay shot, you know. Trying to get on him here, but they wouldn't stop. Eventually I just had to just call it a day. Here's me adjusting to 200. But they would not stop. Fortunately, I didn't turn on the GoPro in time. As I went further on down that hedge along the gorse, I noticed that there was 2 deer actually facing me at the very bottom of this field, and both of them were 224 meters, so I decided to take the biggest one. Again, I looked at the size of the fawn. The fawn was in good health, and she got away. But I've no doubt that she would actually survive. Thank you very much. Right, so a successful morning stalk anyway. Managed to sneak into a group of probably around 10 or 15. One of the does actually copped me, and I think that's what spooked the herd. She was around 150 meters away from me, and she wasn't the one that I was wanting to take out from the group itself. So she alerted the group, and the group made their way up the hill just in front of me into the woods. There was 2 prickets behind her as well, so I was hoping that maybe one of the bigger animals would stop, but they weren't going to. They didn't stop and present a shot to me. Went around the corner and looking down into an open kind of moor. I seen a doe and a fawn just 225 meters away, so handy enough shot. So I looked at the fawn. The fawn was actually in very good condition, so I have no issues with that fawn actually surviving the winter. So I took the bigger animal because this animal is going to go into my freezer. So here she is. There she is. So probably 30 something kilos. So yeah, happy enough with that. And even the wind was blowing down into their face, and they knew that something was up. They knew something was up, and even with my scent going directly towards them, they were probably trying to get up to the main herd. So it just goes to show that you can never really predict. You try and predict deer movements and habits as much as you can, but sometimes they surprise you, and today this doe actually did. Right, so I'm going to show you how to Graloch a deer. So first things first, obviously make sure the animal is dead. This animal question is 100% dead. You can check that by the reaction to the eye movement. No twitch there, no twitch reaction, so this animal is very much dead. The animal is on its right hand side. It's on its right hand side because it's easy for the organs to fall naturally into place on the right hand side. It makes it easier for you to get your hand in around the back and pull everything in. So the steer was shot in the head. Okay, so therefore we need to bleed the animal. Now what you're looking for is, you're looking for a soft patch between the shoulder blades here, very much like what we have. You know, just underneath the Adam's apple, we have a soft part between the clavicles, the collarbones. It's exactly what we have in the deer. So when we found that, we make an incision, and you can see we have a nice flow of blood coming out of the cavity. We can actually enhance that by pushing with your knee onto the chest and pumping it several times. Once we have that done, we need to make an incision up along the neck and expose the trachea and esophagus, the air pipe and the food pipe. Once you have that, we cut, and we need to remove the two. If I was to pull this through, you'll see what I'm going to do now. If I was to pull this esophagus through the cavity into the main abdominal area, what would actually happen is this food stuff, what she's actually after eating, will go into the cavity and actually contaminate it. So what I like to do is, using a sharp knife, just run your knife along the food pipe, exposing this cartilage area, and you'll see why you do this in a second. Once we have that, we want to make a couple of knots, just some simple overhand knots. And what this does is it actually seals the esophagus itself. Now we can see when we pull it through, well, hopefully, there we are, there's one, that's after holding. Once we pull that through, the food stuff actually can't come into it. So that's the first thing we do. Then we move around to the back passage, and in females it's a bit different. So just grab this hair, the tuft of hair, and using a sharp knife, move up along. Again, all we're using is just a small part of the blade, and keep going all the way around. Try and stick as close to the hip as possible, and you were kind of pulling the flesh away from our knife while we cut. Then eventually we can come out here and just ever so gently take your time. Take your time. Take your time. There's no rush. This animal's not going nowhere. Now, what I'm going to do here now, look at all the ticks, look. Ticks, ticks, ticks. It's actually not bad for this area. I'm actually going to cut a small incision. I'm going to leave her udders here, because I want to keep this cut as small as possible. Where I'm going, it's actually not too bad. It's not too far from the Jeep, so it's okay. Small incision. Small incisions. can actually physically feel the guts in here now. Now, see the way I have the knife? My index finger is actually covering the tip, so I can't actually damage any internal organs, or the most importantly the stomach contents. Reach in, pull this out again, try and get as much out as you can. Now this is where it becomes difficult for anybody who's starting off. I hope I'll show my knife here. I hope you can actually see there's kind of a wall of muscle here. That's called the diaphragm. We need to cut into this diaphragm and cut around. So in and around. In and around. And we reach in, following the back spine all the way up. You just want to grab just behind the heart, the trachea and the esophagus, and pull. See what I mean? The knot. You actually see this is full of foodstuffs, so you can see the importance that it's not here. Whatever now, and then just follow the knife around. Just keep pulling, and eventually all you have to do is cut the remaining diaphragm. You can see this, all the feces in here. Again, reach in and pull. Pull the, there we go. Pull everything out now. And that is how you graloch a deer. Just a matter of fact, if you do a graloch right, it should actually come out very, very clean. Lol. It's not easy dragging these guys out, I'll tell you that. The hard part starts when you pull the trigger, for sure. You can literally see the amount of tracks that there is from the deer, and this is deer. This is nothing else. It's not sheep, this is deer. There's a high population of deer in this area and they need to be controlled, so they do. So yeah, just thought you might like to see that. This is exactly what happens in new plantations. All the deer, the bucks and the stags, they absolutely trash and fray the shit out of young saplings, young forestry, and these eventually will die. So this is only caused by one deer. Imagine if you had, like, you know, 50, 60, whatever, hundreds of deer. can imagine how much damage they actually do in new forestry plantations. So it's up to us as the hunters, deer stalkers, to try and minimize this damage. The only real way to minimize it is by culling, and at the early stages of forestry growth, the tubes. But tubes are expensive as well, and in actual fairness, our time put out in the field is precious as well. It's just something to look out for. Notice some movement in underneath the willows, and just out of nowhere, just a deer just seemed to appear, like they always do. Couldn't get a clear shot at her, so as you'll see, I eventually get a shot off. Another fallow doe. Seems to have broken a leg at some stage. Line up. Not really in fucking good condition, really. Not at all. She'll go for dog food, unfortunately. Right, so hopefully you can see this and hear me. It's a bit windy. Just want to show you how to take the head and the legs off a deer. First things first, we'll need to cut at the back of the hocks here, back of the legs. This is for where the gambrel is gonna fit when I go to skin this deer at home. So do it on the two of them. We'll start with the easiest ones. The easiest ones are the front legs. All we do is see where it actually See where it actually bends? Join literally a line to where it actually bends. Cut all the way around. You need to have a sharp knife for this, guys. Cut all the way around and twist, and that is it. Twist, boom, that's one off. Cut around, twist, boom. Now these get everybody, they even get me sometimes. You can see that we have, you can see this white patch here. This is the metatarsal gland. Just literally 1 inch up from that, 1 inch. Put a small bit of a bend on the twist and bend 1 inch up, all the way around. Just cut all the way around. There we go. That's one off. Same again. You can see the joint, the metatarsal gland here, this white patch here, 1 inch up. Slight little twist, slight little bend, and you'll feel it pop. You'll feel it actually pop. Small little bit of a twist. That's it. I'll show you one way. I'll actually show you. I'll show you both ways how to take the head off. This is the easiest one. Literally cut the back of the throat. You can see that. Not really much of a. Not really much of anything left from 30-06 right to the head. So I'm just going to salvage. That really didn't show you much. I'll show you on the next